compared to the others who haven't had the opportunity. So overall, I think your presentations are really good, and I'm looking at all the future leaders of industry, so that's very, very nice. So we'll start with team 1. And you're the ones, that's ICF. And you're the ones who mentioned that you want to deal with the ethical dimension, okay? And one thing I want to mention is information is giving out and receiving. Communication is getting through. So I want to ask you, do you feel that you're communicating, you're connecting with the audience?
I think so.
But I think that applies to every one of you. It would be very nice if you introduce yourself, even you have a name tag, and say, you know, I came all the way from France, and it sort of makes a connection with the audience, okay? Because you command our attention to focus on you, so you need to identify yourself a little more, you know, in a friendly manner, so we can capture you a little better. Very good timing, excellent, and I think the introduction about social responsibility and it's well done, and I congratulate you for what you have conveyed. And then we go to team 2. Warwick, and now we talk about solutions for legal, financial, and then in interactive ethics. It's very innovative that the 3 of you went up together, okay? But you were talking among yourselves more than talking to the audience. That's what I wanted to point out, or making the presentation, and so you're kind of supporting one another, but you need to connect with us a little more, okay? Also, the background, before you even start, you don't have to be timed until you say you're ready. You know, you're not taking advantage of that. And I think you need to introduce your teammates, so we all have this connection again. Communication is so important. The art of effective communication lies in being heard. So we hear you, but I think your team members heard each other more than we heard you. Okay. But the subject itself is well covered, and I think what you're trying to convey is a difficult situation, and what is exactly the recommendation, or what is the focus that you want to convey? It's a little vague as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Do you have any questions that we should discuss?
Yeah, I guess maybe the role play element is what we were trying to get, and the fact that ethics was kind of key to the legal and the financial issue. That's what we were trying to get through. But maybe I hope it came through.
Yeah, I hope not. So, since this was about shifting the direction of a meeting, but not giving a one-person tirade, so we just focused on shifting the direction of a meeting which was going through legal and financial issues,
right,
to ethical issues. So that's why we try to create a scenery like a board meeting.
But I think your focus more or less on directing to one another instead of to the audience. You have to accept the fact that we are the audience and you have our focus. Okay, so that's my suggestion. Otherwise, the presentation is very well done. Thank you. Okay. All right. I recognize now you said this is the most important sport. And I used to work with Michael Jordan, so I always thought basketball was
Well, I'm imagining speaking to the commissioner, so he wants to hear.
Well, then I think, of course, you're from Austin, but you know, you have you have a wonderful area in Austin, and I think I'm steering away a little bit. Have you heard about the place called Horseshoe Bay?
I have, yes ma'am.
Okay. Well, I went to Austin because I heard about Horseshoe Bay, and I was so impressed with what they have done that I decided I like Austin also. So sometimes you relate to different things, and I'm a sports fan, but Dallas Cowboys have a new stadium, right? Have you people played there yet?
I have been to it.
It is fantastic.
Amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's $1 billion, and I think it raises a bar for everyone. But like what you talk about, the injury issue, and it existed for a long time, but now it is being addressed. And not only are you concentrating on how to solve the problem, but also to go back and see how you can correct everything. I think this is very, very important. So you conveyed everything very well. And I think good connection with the audience too. Right. Thank you.
We have Team 4, Copenhagen.
Yes. Well, I think, have you done this before?
Yeah, I've done this before, but I think my issue was, and that's the reason why I blacked out, was I wanted to say too much in too little time, and
Yes.
then I forgot what to say. Basically.
But
So
your
I'm
second try
aware.
was very good.
Sorry?
I said your second try was very good. You're more relaxed.
Yeah, I was more relaxed, but I still had too much to say, so I'm completely aware of my,
Well, it's a
Oh,
big
shortcomings.
subject. It's a very
Yeah.
big subject to cover.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's not easy. And I think absolutely correct the analysis of how you can solve the problem. And I'm Chinese, so I'll tell you something that we believe in. And I think this will benefit everyone. Okay. We have a saying that if you plan for a year, you plan in spring. And if you plan for for a decade, you plant trees. But if you plan for generations and social correction, you start with education and support. And I think this is something that you're trying to convey. Yes, you start from the land to solve the problem of the sea. Yeah. So it's very focused and very nice. And I'm glad the second presentation was very good.
Team 5, University of St. Thomas.
You know, the presenter was the only one who walks back and forth to connect with everybody. Did you feel you have the audience?
That's
in your
my goal.
hands?
That's
Huh?
my goal. I want it to be interesting for everyone, not just one person. So
Yes, yes. So that was very good. But is there a solution to the whole thing? Is there too much you want to say? What are you going to do? Supposing it's your company, what would you do? I want to hear.
excellent. So we acquired this company and we recode the violent games. We, through research, learned that one of the key problems with violent games is that they don't link negative actions with negative consequences. And in most cases, those negative actions are actually rewarded as a form of reinforcing bad habit. So if we can break that cycle through our games, in a sense, we can provide meaningful solutions for this troubled industry.
But you said you're going to recode it, so the AO
Right.
is gone.
Well, so here's what we're doing.
Adult only. Yeah.
Sure. So we're proposing that you divest, so you get rid of games that are excessively violent. So games like Grand Theft Auto, where the whole premise is to deal drugs and travel around in a stolen car. That game is beyond saving. So that was that divesting piece we're getting at. That game is beyond our company's means. And there really isn't that developmental benefit there either.
But there wasn't a definite message that you conveyed, the solution.
Well,
Exactly.
the solution per se was to acquire this company,
Yeah.
to partner with psychological researchers to study addiction. So we already mentioned how we're going to combat aggression. Now we're going to try to begin to understand the causes of addiction and try to combat that. In the video game industry, this is something that's almost taboo. Companies don't open up their doors. They aren't making these partnerships.
We're all getting educated.
Right. So in order to become an industry leader, we wanted to take the first steps because this is a risk. But ultimately, if no one takes these steps, someone else will buy this company, and the cycle would never be broken.
Well, I think economically you're gaining 25% in sales, right?
Sure, there is some
So you
economic
have an
benefit.
obligation to the shareholders. Everybody
Right.
has an obligation to the shareholders in any company, right? So there is a solution that's quite simple, actually.
Well, actually, I completely concur with you. And the revenue piece there is incredibly huge. So the shareholder piece comes into play with the child-friendly games actually made a bigger part of the video game market, which is one of the things we learned. So we are trying to do what's best for shareholders.
the simple solution. I like to simplify things. It doesn't work, but you can try. And I think a lot of it deals with perspective. I'm listening to all of you, and it's the broad perspective to see what the big picture is and what is the solution. And I think you can very easily keep the same brand dealing with the one part of the video business and start a different company
Right.
under the same parent corporation and start with a different approach so that you can edit the contents. So
That's exactly what the rewriting the software is. It's the editing piece.
Okay. So, and then also there's another presentation that's, I don't think anyone had a chance to see it. It's from the
No.
Turkish.
No, this is
Yeah.
the Turkish,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that has to deal with a hospital and something that I learned by reading is a limb transplant. Have you heard of that? They're transplanting legs and arms. And it so happened, well, you're in the sports industry, so you would know these things. But it happened that it wasn't successful afterwards, and the patient died. But it had a lot to do with legal and competition between hospitals, and then the invasion of privacy of the family because it became a public issue. So it is very, very difficult case to present, and they did a great job too. So I encourage questions. Do you have any questions that I could answer that can help you? Did you come from France all the way?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. When did you arrive?
We